Hello, everybody. Welcome to another very special edition of Clownversations to publicize and celebrate the amazing CoHo Clown Festival in Portland. And today I'm going to be talking to Lisa Dubois and Rudi Galindo, who are performing this weekend in the festival. So if you love clown and you want to find out more about clown, hit the subscribe button right now and don't go away. A conversation with a fellow clown. It's not very serious, we're clowning around. It's really just a clownversation. All right, there was that guy. And then this is these guys. Welcome, Lisa and Rudi. Oh. Hang on. Well, there's Lisa anyway. I don't know. Who's this guy that you've dragged in off the street, Lisa?
Yeah, it's new to me. Watch out.
Dude, we're trying to do a conversation here about some serious topics. So
So take this away.
I got rid of that. Or did I? Hello, everyone. I'm Rudi. This is Lisa.
Hello.
Oh, it's Rudi. It's Rudi, everybody. You totally fooled me. Wow. And you're looking a bit hairier than usual, I think. Wait a minute. Was that supposed to happen?
No, thanks.
Well, it's lovely to have you both on the show. It looks like a carpet now. Looks like you've got a rug on your head.
Oh, don't worry about it.
So
hello,
you guys,
everyone.
welcome to Portland. You've just arrived, right? A couple of days ago, and you're thrown into the midst
Yeah, we're just getting over our jet lag.
Yeah, where did you come from?
We come from Brussels in Belgium, but we don't come from Brussels in reality. I'm Italian and
I'm an American.
from California. But yeah, we live in Brussels.
I didn't know you were Italian, Lisa. I assumed you were French because of your very French-sounding name, Dubois.
Yep.
It's pronounced Boit.
Oh, sorry.
But I'm
Dubois means the box, and nobody puts Madame Dubois in a box.
Except you come out of the box in the show. I've seen that.
That's true.
I thought how amazing that your name is from the box, and in the show you come out of a box. I was wondering which came first, the box or the name?
The box.
So you're Italian. Lisa, tell us, can you just give us a little thumbnail sketch? Because you're actually a dancer, right? You come from a dance choreography background. Yeah, so how did you get into this kind of clown world?
I was pulled into it. Yeah, I'm a real dancer, choreographer, but I've been a lot out in the street. I was performing a lot in street festivals, so there's always these boundaries with a kind of a way of using the body that is more open and more less academic, let's say.
Yeah.
And, I met this guy, and we have been start working together a lot, and we actually are always trying to go into each other's world. I was trying to pull him into moving more and more, and I found great joy of inspired by this way of more light of performing and also entering into character work. So I cannot say that I turn into a clown, but I think I start turning into a weird character since
eccentric character. To be the genesis of her initiation into the clown world was I was on a tour, Clowns Without Border tour in Mexico, and she wanted to come, and I said, "Yeah, come." And I said, "Why don't you be in the show?" And she says, "Well, what am I going to do?" And we thought about it, and I have this lamp of Charlie Chaplin who's drunk and asleep on a lamppost, and it's right by my bed. And I looked at it and I go, you can be the sleeping man. You just like, when
you don't know what to do, you fall asleep.
Exactly.
So it was a good way for me to.
So you did that. You played that in the show.
It turned out a very nice character, actually.
In the performance Coup de Foudre, which we play on Friday night at 7, she does play the character that's called the sleeping man.
Yeah, the guy.
That's her in the box.
Yeah.
Lisa Dubois in the box.
Coming out the box.
I found a very good promo video that you guys had done, which should be on the website, but isn't. I think it was actually on your website, Lisa, on the Giolisu.
Yeah, it was the very, very first one, because it's 10 years we are performing this performance. It has gone all over the world and the time.
Yeah.
It was the very first video, actually.
Well, I thought it looked like you hadn't aged a day. But it was in a very beautiful green outdoor setting, and it looked like quite a lovely show, I have to say.
Well, so hope you get to come see it on Friday.
Yes, I'm going to see that one for sure. And I noticed in it there is this sequence with the newspapers rolled up.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, wait a minute. I've done that in a Clowns Without Borders show.
Oh, yeah.
And Adrian
Mejia.
Yeah. Adrian, because I was on a Clowns Without Borders tour with him in Colombia, and he taught us that. I've since learned that it was kind of like a staple of the Clowns Without Borders. USA.
Yeah, what ended up happening on those early tours is a lot of people who don't have experience creating material would come, and the way we would build a show is like, okay, what can you do? And let's stitch them together. And so oftentimes people didn't have very good material, or they only had solo material. So what I ended up doing is taking my solo show and made it into a collaboration of basically an ensemble piece. So, something that I would do as a solo, I would figure out how 3 people could do, that. So, and then, so it all kind of dovetailed one sequence after another, with the newspaper into the spyglass, into the butt tunnel, into the audience, the line Lotzi, and it's just like, and I still teach that when I do these Clowns Without Borders workshops. And sometimes when we're on tour and there's like not enough material, it's like, okay, well, let's look into the bag and pull this guy out and shake it off.
But you should check it out, because we have a new version of the newspaper that we have
cool
in it, and also inspired by
Buster Keaton.
Oh, unfolding.
And then,
shh, don't go. Way to go.
I do that in my show, Ship of Fools, as well, except it's a map, and it gets bigger and bigger and bigger, and then I kind of get lost underneath it. It's a nice gag.
Yeah. Well, it's interesting that Buster Keaton, the clip that you can get on YouTube of that is like 1 minute and 20 seconds of just like that, and then the clip ends, and we're like going, that's so great. So our version lasts about 5 minutes.
Oh, cool. I'm excited for my kids to come and see this show, because I've taught the newspaper routine to them, and we've done it together as a freehander. And I haven't told them yet that there's so I think they're going to watch the show on Friday night, the 6 o'clock, right? And
Friday night at 7.
Friday at 7. That's right. Friday at 7. Thank you.
Saturday at 6.
Yeah.
Saturday at 6.
Friday at 7.
Yeah. So they're gonna be like, oh, we know that.
Remember that.
We do ask for a volunteer, so make sure they sit in front. Maybe
No, they'll be terrible. Don't choose them. They'll be terrible volunteers.
No, I normally try to, for my volunteer, I usually try to pick someone who doesn't normally want to come up on stage.
Yeah.
You know, pick me. And then they, you know, it's really great to find someone who's fragile, and then you see in the piece how just by a small relationship, how you can build trust so quickly. And anyway, I won't give away what happens with the volunteer.
But let's talk about some of the other shows, because we just talked about Coup de Foudre, but there's only one show of that. But the others,
let's talk about this one. No,
Knock at the Door.
Yeah, that one.
Knock at the Door.
Yeah, which is on 4 times over the weekend, every night, 7 o'clock on Thursday and Sunday, and 9 o'clock on Friday and Saturday.
Exactly.
So this is your pièce de résistance.
Exactly, sir.
Yeah. Well, this is a longer show also. It's about 55, 56 minutes. It's kind of a big, complete show of, we use a lot of code of theater and dance and music and object work and mask work, and there's all kind of dreams.
Object theater. Puppetry.
Little puppetry, And we have been working a lot on this performance, and it was during COVID time, so we were really in a kind of a dream inside the studio, dreaming and inventing.
Beautiful.
So that's been a very intense travel that we did. And normally there is a live musician, but he's not with us. But there is a great soundtrack of Lars.
Yeah.
So it's also interesting. It's very rich of a lot of inspiration from Middle East to Africa. It's
blues. Don't forget the blues.
Jazz.
Oh, that's awesome. It's kind of late for the kids, but I'm thinking I need to bring them to see it because
it's very rich and very visual and emotional. There's a lot of layers. It's intense, but I think it's really a nice trip.
It's like entering into a dream world, and in the dream world, you don't want to wake up at the end. It's kind of. It's like when you're in bed and you wake up a little bit in the morning and you go, oh, I've got an extra hour. I'm just going to go back into this dream. It's really, we try to keep that feeling as long as possible. We were having a discussion with a technician who wanted to do a curtain call with full lights and everyone excited. I said, no, it's like
no way.
We want them to stay in the dream. If they don't want to clap, we don't want to ask them to clap. We just want them to just slowly the curtains open and you hear the birds outside and you just kind of savor the dream.
It sounds like the kind of, in a way, a beautiful marriage of what you both bring to perform.
I would say this is. It was a very difficult creation process because we couldn't show it publicly. Yeah. And so we kept working on it, and then we got lost inside of it, and it was a bad dream for part of that time, and it's only now that we've been rehearsing it and playing it that it's kind of distilled. And now it's actually taking a stronger shape that I think would only be possible with the tortured process. The road to get there was hard and difficult, and now it's like we really embrace it and we really find the joy of the work.
Yeah, but it's also a show that. It's built in another way than like a street show or more theater show where when you don't have a lot of time and a lot of technical support. We had a lot of technique also to deal with. So it's very, very rich of details and precisions, especially on stage, and also about the objects and about the language of the band. So it's very it had to find his exactly right. It's like a big mechanism that have to find exactly his
beautiful. And does it is there some spontaneity in improv there, or is it very kind of like clockwork?
It's very well written. Written, but yeah, we always try to keep it alive.
Well, part of the task of this kind of work is to get into a state, and once you arrive in a state where you embody the characters that are telling the story, it is possible to find hidden treasures that you didn't know that existed. For example, Michael O'Neill was watching one of our run-throughs, and we stopped and we're trying to figure out this cue. And there's a scene where I go over to this light, and the only thing you can see is my hands. And so there's this light, and I start, doing something with my hands. And Michael said, "Yeah, you should fade the music when Rudi is washing his hands in the light." And I was like going, "Oh, that is so beautiful." And so when we did it again, I showed my hands, and then I started to caress them as if I was washing them, and it was just a simple little idea that he planted that seed, and right away it just like boom, you just put a little bit of water, you spit on it, and it just turned into this incredible,
I love it,
physical, visual moment. That
it's also because I think the performance is richer than we know at this point, and we discover by doing it, by performing it and sharing with the audience. We actually find out what it is also for us. We're still
of course. Yeah.
And you have to arrive in a state to be able to be a conduit to what is the flower that's growing.
It must be tricky doing the one show and finishing it, and then having to get into the headspace for the other show in the same evening.
We are always
professionals
in a state. It has been a long process of we have this way in Europe, because we are blessed that we can rehearse all the time. We have free space. We don't have to pay for rehearsing. We're invited in theater spaces, so we kind of are in work all the time. We are kind of always
Oh, I really envy you guys, because I'm part of an ensemble, and we there's 4 of us, and we all live in different countries on different sides of the world. So we get to work together about 1 week a year, and then we do a couple of shows, and then we have to wait another year and apply for grants and all that stuff.
Yeah, it's a different monster. The cultural support that you get in the States versus what you can get in Europe.
Yeah,
and
well, true.
I think that there's any other continent that can beat the support you get in,
No, it's
art.
Amazing. And France, particularly. Is Belgium similar? Does it have?
Yeah, Belgium is taking it over France, because now there's still money for artists, and really support spaces and way of
How did you end up in Belgium? Was it because of that? You thought, oh, this would be a good place to go because of the art support?
I was in France. I moved from Italy to France and then to Belgium, and then
I knew France came into it somehow.
And then we met in Spain, and we said, well, where should we live? And
no. The story is not that simple. I'm sorry.
No, but hey, we
met in Spain, and we decided, where should we live? I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Let's get married. Where should we live?
It's a better love story than that. I'll tell you that.
Yeah, but to go back to the theater and art support in Belgium, you are supported constantly as an artist. Whenever you don't work, you are paid by the government, so they allow you to survive if you don't have gigs or work. And then you have grants to create, and you have space to create, and you have an audience to create. I think
Unbelievable.
Still privileged place.
And the fees are it's like if for some reason there's a cancellation and you can't perform, they just say, that's a pity. We're going to pay you for the work that you didn't do, and we're going to rebook you. Can you come back and we'll pay you again to do the show? Wow. And this is like, that doesn't happen in the States.
Yeah.
Unless you have a contract that says that, but this is just, a normal reaction to, a cancellation, for example.
So let's talk about the other show, because you guys are not doing one, not doing two, but in fact 3 different shows. And that third show seems to include 3 shows in itself.
Yes. So the first show that we do, it's called The Walk on the Wild Side. And it's basically, the concept is coming up, scrolling up. There it is. And the concept is asking the audience to have the trust in nonverbal communication to actually go on a walk and explore the neighborhood and be confronted with different styles. There's 3 very distinct styles that we share in an hour's time. And there is nobody telling you what the rules are of the street. It's going to be sort of a improvisation for the audience of how do they watch the show, and so they're going to have to, they'll take some cues from the performers, but for the most part, it's like, if you're in the way and we need that space as a performer, you're going to have to be mobile, and, you have to move out of the way or hold something, or, whatever it is that happens, and that's the great nature of street theater, is that the rules that exist on the street are not the same rules that you have in a theater. And that's oftentimes why street performers, when they come into the theater, they have a hard time, because they think that they have to like really, get the audience worked up. And it's just like, no, just calm down, take a drink of water. The audience is not going anywhere. But on the street, it's like, once they start going away and you want to pass the hat, this adrenaline comes up. That's not really necessary. But we don't necessarily do the kind of street theater that we try to keep the audience. It's just like, we do our thing, and you're welcome to invest the time to be with us. And if you do, you're gonna discover something.
But for this particular show, at the CoHo, you do need tickets in theory, and it starts at the theater, and we go with you. But you're also doing it in St. Helens at the Halloween Town Festival, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah. So
that's much more of a street theater, kind of typical street theater gig, where people are just milling around and they might see what you're doing and come and watch.
Yeah, but the walking on the wild side, there is a meeting point here at the theater, but also we hope to actually get other publics that are not advertising.
Oh yeah, I'm sure, of course.
Anything is going on, and that for me, it's very interesting to see the normal person that would just pass by, and then maybe they would walk into the theater or decide that maybe it could be interesting to do that action also.
So that's at 6 o'clock. Hang on, let me get it up
Saturday.
Again. On Saturday. So, and are the streets going to be closed off, or is it just going to be a sort of?
No.
Nope. Yeah. And we didn't ask permission. We're just, everyone is going to be, safety in numbers. So we don't think that we're going to have any problems.
or maybe, but I'm intrigued in that one of the performances that I perform play a little bit with that risk, like crossing the street or stay deliberately in the street with cars, and play a little bit with the edge of, so who has the right of what, and also what is a public space? Can I lay down for a few minutes totally in the street while people walks and see what can, and also how people are able to see things, because sometimes when we walk in the streets we are totally absorbed by our thought and our phones. And it's and sometimes we lose a little bit the capacity to actually open the eyes to the environment. And, I think it triggers a little bit this notion of life is all around all the time. It's not just arrive into a space, or I was doing this performance in metro stations in Brussels, but without any appointments or schedule. So, and there are people who don't see you. You are like laying on the floor, and they kind of step on you, but
step over,
and they don't realize. And some other that all of a sudden, see things.
Yeah, it's super interesting. Super interesting.
It's interesting what music can do to transform an ordinary action.
Yeah, also. Definitely.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. I suppose in the street, music would instantly transform something. It might be a little bit like wearing a costume or a red nose, and it signals something else is going on other than reality, normal everyday reality.
Yeah, and we're gonna, so for the third performance, it was called Le Contraire de Un, that means the contrary of one. We use a bench, but of the town, so a public bench. So it's
so you've got a very clear route that you know the route already that you're going to take, and you know where you're going to do each stop and each little section. I before we finish, you guys, I'd just really like to circle back round and ask you, Rudi, a little bit about your kind of background in clowning, and kind of what I suppose your point of entry into clowning was, and what informs your understanding of clown today. Would you be able to talk a bit about that?
I'll answer the first query. I started doing theater by accident, and it was I transferred to, I was in the university system, and I transferred to a school, and I had to in order to get my financial aid, I had to like find classes to fill my docket of 12 units. And I walked in the theater building like I walked in all the other buildings looking for, openings. And I saw clown Tuesdays and Thursdays from 2 o'clock to 4 o'clock. Okay, that's good. I got that. And I showed up at this theater, and the first thing the teacher said was, okay, everyone, take your coats off, take everything out of your pockets, take your shoes off. Let's get in a circle and hold hands. And I'm like going, and we started playing games, and I was hooked from the start because, and it was a clown class. So, and the teacher was from Del Arte. And so I started getting this education of theater, but I instead of coming in through the actor's door, I came in through the side clown door, and I started all of my adventures in theater, either it be mask work, commedia, clown, acting, melodrama, film, anything. I entered that door from the clown perspective. It's the first thing I learned about theater was how to be a clown. And I wasn't a very good clown the first semester. I was trying to figure it out. I was just like this wild energy. And the teacher, God bless his soul, he just said, just let him be what he is. And as soon as we had an audience, I couldn't believe how unleashed I became, and how, I had all this energy. And in order for me to be able to tell a story, I had to figure out how to tame this energy. So I started taking mime classes and physical theater classes, juggling, all of those things. And the one thing that helped me the most was I was up for a commedia role because someone hurt himself, and the director said to my mime teacher, she said, "What about Rudi? I hear he's pretty good." And she says, "No, he's a little bit out of control." And I didn't get to be in this piece. And I heard later that this happened, and I was like furious, but at the same time, I realized, I go, she's right. I really have to figure out how to be in control of what I have. And from that moment on, I was like so precise, and I started learning things, and I started building what it was to be who I am. So
that's awesome.
I entered through the back door.
I did an interview with Joe Diefenbacher a few months ago, and we were talking about the payasos mendigos.
Yeah, that was a wild time. It was like we were rock stars. It was so great. And just like the Beatles, we broke up when we could have kept going, and we still
just
have,
like the Beatles.
Yeah, we're just like the Beatles. And Joe and I were talking, and we both want, we were saying, well, Guapo is Ringo, Cosmo, he's not really George, but he's George. So either Joe or I were either Paul or John. And I said, I'm John. Sorry, Joe. You're more organized like Paul, because Paul was like, he'd come into, the rehearsals, he'd have, and John would just kind of come in a little bit late, smoking a cigarette. Where's my beer? Okay. But still creative. And it was really a great partnership with all of us, in fact. But Joe and I, we tended to be the ones who kind of led the direction. And he was a great, and we really kind of butted heads of like, who's going to be the captain, who's going to be the lieutenant. And he was always coming to rehearsal with a script and prepared. And I was just going, okay, you're going to be my captain, and I'm going to be your loyal lieutenant. And as soon as I made that decision, because Joe was just going to keep doing what he does. As soon as we made that decision, it clicked, and we were just, so proficient in creating.
And so how about a reunion tour one day?
We keep talking about it, and the last time we did it was probably about 6 years ago, and everyone was so out of shape. I'm probably, Joe's in pretty good shape, and I'm in pretty good shape, and Dave is not in good shape. He was in the hospital. He had a heart attack, and his body is, he's got to lose weight. God bless that man. And Cosmo is kind of out of this circuit. He's working on films as a set dresser. So, his trajectory went through, and Cosmo was a great clown, funny guy. And, but the problem with some performers is that you're either a creator or you're an interpreter. So when you're an interpreter and you don't have a collective, then it's very easy for you to kind of like slip back into the unknown. And that's kind of what happened.
Well, you and Joe live pretty close together, so you guys could just be the dos payasos mendigos.
Well, there was talk of that after this fateful breakup in Rotterdam. So that's another adventure, and I'd be glad to come back and have Joe and me and Dave, and if Cosmo is there, have a conversation about that.
Well, but that's a whole other story that we will maybe go into at some point. Definitely. Well, guys, this has been really awesome. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Yeah, really fun and interesting. I feel like I've learned a lot just from talking about these shows and about your work. And let's just recap very quickly for folks. So we've got Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. You can see Not this one, but you can see a knock at the door.
Here you go. Knock at the door. 4 nights.
And then Coup de Foudre.
On Friday at 7. We only play one time.
And then Walk on the Wild Side.
6 o'clock. We only play that one time. And then every evening, either at 7 o'clock or at 9 o'clock, we play a knock at the door.
Yes, that is it. Perfect. All right. Well, I'm going to see you on Friday night. So it'll be lovely to hang out and talk more about the shows. And I hope that you guys watching, if anyone's in the Portland area, please get down and support the final weekend of the CoHo Clown Festival this weekend, because all 3 shows are going to be absolutely amazing and very special to have them here in Portland. So thank you so much, guys. Thanks for being here and for promoting Clown and for talking to me today.
All right.
Thank you.
Have a good one. Okay. Thank you so much, everyone, for tuning in again for Clownversation. That was an awesome, awesome conversation with Rudi and Lisa. Apologies for getting your name wrong, Lisa. I won't do that ever again. So this Friday, I have another Clownversation with the amazing Jeff Johnson. He's going to be talking about how to escape the mind trap. Jeff is a far out guy with amazing talent and so much inspiration to share. So please make time to be there on Friday, same time, same place as always. So for now, thank you so much for being with me today and keep clowning, everybody. Bye.